What's up everyone, I'm Michael, if you didn't already know. Before you proceed in this video, do not forget to subscribe to my channel, like my video, share it if you want to. I truly appreciate it. I appreciate you spending time with me and taking time out of your day to, listen to what I gotta say, because you don't have to be doing this, just like I don't have to be doing this, but I enjoy it. I appreciate you. So I am doing a 3-week detox. Basically what I'm doing is on week 1, I'm avoiding all social media. Week 2, I am not going to be watching any television shows or movies. Week 3, which is the scariest one for me, no music. I've always had a love-hate relationship with social media. Ever since social media blew up, I would participate in it, but part of me always knew, Michael, don't put too much attention into this. It's just not really for you. Like, yeah, you can learn some really good things on social media, but most of it, as you probably know, is a huge waste of time. There's been times in the past where I've taken like a few days off or a week off, and I've noticed a difference in my day-to-day energy and how I feel and certain other things. So I was like, you know what, it's time to take it a step further. Why am I doing this? What sparked this? So what triggered this was a few days before my birthday. So this was probably like late August. It was like a Sunday, I think, and I was watching like a lot of YouTube videos. I watch more YouTube than TV, honestly. And as I was watching the video, I felt a sudden like pressure on my chest, and I was gasping for air. I started sweating, my heart started beating, I was shaking. It literally felt like I was dying, and that the world, the universe was like closing in on me. I basically had a panic attack while watching this video, and a panic attack is not anything that I ever experienced before. Like, I've experienced anxiety, I've experienced, some uncomfortable emotions before, but I've never experienced what I experienced while I was watching this video online. And I was like, what is going on right now? Like, I'm just sitting in bed watching a video. Why is this happening to me right now? And I had to talk myself out of it, because I felt like my room was just closing in on me, and if I allowed that to happen all the way, that something in me was gonna snap or was gonna change. It literally felt like if I allowed whatever to take over me, if that happened, that I would be a different person. Like, that's how it felt. It was scary. That was a scary feeling. I'm so glad that I was able to talk myself out of it and do my breathing exercises, because I feel like the lights were going out in my head, and that I was either gonna die or, become a different person altogether. Well, I had to shut off the video because I felt like, for some reason, whatever was happening in that video was affecting me. The overall tone of the video was that this individual might be, losing their mind kind of thing. And I came back to the video afterwards, and a lot of the comments were saying things like, oh, this person is possessed, or something has taken over their body and their mind, or something or someone is controlling this person. And that's literally what I felt I was experiencing while watching the video and having that panic attack that I had. I felt like something was taking over me, that I didn't give any authority to do so. Like, it was not me. Allowing something to come into me, or an energy, a force, whatever you want to call it. I was bringing something into me that should not hold space within my vessel. So that was pretty trippy. That the comments basically reflected what I experienced. So after that experience, I was like, okay, Michael, you need a break. You need to stop watching videos. You need to get off social media. So after this happened, I actually went away. I went to Puerto Rico for my birthday for a few days. And another thing that kind of added to it, so initially it was just going to be, like no social media. But then another thing that added to it is I went horseback riding. It was like a group thing. There may have been 6, 7, 8 of us, doing the horseback riding. It was my friends and some other people as well. And one of the chicks, she had a speaker on top of the horse playing her own music. And in my mind, it wasn't super loud, but it was loud enough to where I could hear it. And that poor horse, having to listen to that shit for 2 hours on that horse ride, poor thing. Like, it's not enough that us humans are mounting this animal that should probably be free anyway. It's not enough that we're putting all our weight on top of this horse. But blast music from a little mini stereo the whole time. It's like, come on, baby. Like, we horseback riding in nature. Like, you couldn't turn off the music. For 2 hours, you needed music on top of the horse riding experience, which was a beautiful thing. Everyone should go horseback riding at least once in their life. But you couldn't turn off the stereo for 2 hours just to enjoy the horse ride and like look around you, look at nature, look at the waterfall. Yo, that shit did something to my soul. Like, I got upset, not visibly, but internally. I was like, this ain't it. So from that experience, I decided to add not only social media, but I decided to add anything that could possibly influence us. It's gonna be just me with me, and I feel like a lot of people need that, you know? A lot of people fill their days and weekends with constant noise, constant, you know, outside influence, whether it's watching something or listening to something. It's very rare that you find someone just being quiet and being still, silencing the mind. Week 3, which is going to be the hardest. Actually, no, it's going to be the easiest. Words have power. I need to change my words. A lot of people don't realize, but music is a very powerful in influencing people's minds as well. Like, music has a certain frequency. Some music is on the wrong frequency, apparently. You can look that up yourself and do your own research on that. That's why the music on the top of the charts are usually created by major record labels, you know? The indie artists are not at the top of the charts. And if you listen to indie music and listen to top 40 pop, different frequency. It's like night and day. Pay attention to some of the indie artists you might listen to and the music they make and how you feel when you listen to their music, and then go play like top 40 music and compare the two. You'll see what I'm talking about. So boom, week 1, no social media. Week 2, no social media plus no TV, no movies. Week number 3, no social media, no TV, no music. Oh, this is gonna be fun. So week 1, it's been very peaceful so far. And listen to this, on day 1 is when Facebook and Instagram went down all over the world on that Monday. That was my first day of doing the cleanse. And if that wasn't a sign from spirit, I don't know what was. I don't know what is. On day 1 of my first week of no social media goes down. Like, come on now. Come on now. If that ain't being on track, you're gonna realize that a lot of the time you spent on social media and a lot of time that you spent looking at certain pages and certain things that serve absolutely no purpose for you, you're gonna be like, damn, I really spent all those hours following this person that adds absolutely nothing to my life. Oof. Fuck. It's crazy. I admire people that don't use social media, that are already on this track. Like, they already know it's bullshit. Like, I've always known it was bullshit, but, you know, my human side was still, like, pulled into it and intrigued. And these days, it's kind of hard to not be on social media, especially if you're trying to, you know, like, help people or have a positive influence or do anything, really. If you have a business, it's hard to leave social media out of it because it's so important. You know, it's such an important part of the world now. So it's like, how do you move without it? How do you move without it? Well, we're about to find out. So it's officially the end of my 3-week detox from anything that could potentially be an influence to my subconscious, my thinking, my emotions, my personality. I have to say, it's been pretty amazing. And it's made me re-question a lot of things that I already felt before I did this, and I already intuitively was drawn to doing, but actually doing it for a long period of time, it kind of reawakened that intuition that I had about certain things and how it kind of determines how you move and, you know, how you feel throughout the day, how you interact with people, your thoughts, just everything really. Week 1, no social media. On day 1, which is still crazy to me, but then not, because that's kind of how the universe works. But like I said, on day 1 of my 3-week cleanse, as you know, social media went down. You know, people were freaking out. You know, some people were probably okay with it, but people who probably use it heavily just freaked out. And I was like, this is really happening. On my first day of this detox, everything just shuts down. So that was already confirmation. On that first day though, I do have to say, I did kind of miss those notifications coming in. Or maybe not miss is not the right word. I think I just got used to it. I was so used to, you know, the constant engagement, constant notifications, what people are up to, the latest news. I mean, I personally don't watch the news, so the only news that I get, or you know, the only way I know what's kind of happening in the world is on social media. And I even limit that because there's been times where I've been too hooked on what's happening in the world, and I felt that really changed my energy for the worse and dragged me down too. So I really try to limit it. But you know, I got to be somewhat aware of what's happening in this human experience to an extent, right? I can't be too shut out, even though, you know, I want to be. But after, I'd say maybe like the 6th or 7th hour of not being on social media, it felt calming. It was relaxing in a way of not constantly having to check my phone, because I was like, okay, this is cool, you know, like I can focus on other things, you know. That first week overall was pretty easy, I do have to say. I've done like a week or like a few days of not being on social media before, so it wasn't that big of a deal, but going without it for a whole week, it was very peaceful. I feel like I was able to focus more. I felt like my anxiety went down for sure. And it was just this overall sense of peace, which I usually try to, you know, maintain within myself and carry with me. But eliminating that one thing, it just kind of took it to the next level. I feel like looking back, those constant notifications and what's behind those notifications is almost like it's like zapping you out of your frequency. You're in a certain frequency, you're in a certain energetic field, and then all of a sudden you see somebody's story or you see the latest post and you're reading the words and whatnot, and it almost like brings you into that world, whether you know it or not. It brings you into that world of whatever you just exposed yourself to. And you might be asking yourself, oh, like, why do I feel different now? Why am I thinking about this? I wasn't thinking about that like 2 minutes ago. Like, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want that product. I didn't want to go on that vacation. I didn't think that I needed to look a certain way before I saw this post. But now that I was exposed to it, now, you know, my brain is thinking differently. My energy is totally different. So it's just being aware of what you expose yourself to, who you follow and what you follow. And I know I've said this before, but what you focus on grows. So you got to pay attention to what you're focusing on, but you got to know what's for you. You got to know thyself. You got to know thyself. Who are you? You know, you're following all these people online and you're looking at them live their fairy tale, picture perfect life. But in the end of the day, it's an illusion. Social media is an illusion. Not to say that certain things that you see aren't happening in the physical realm, but the overall picture is most likely not what you think it is, right? Another thing I noticed was that by like day 2 or 3 of not being on social media, my dreams became even more vivid than they already are. It kind of reminded me of when I did my fast a few months ago. But not only did I have vivid dreams, but I actually woke up and remembered my dreams. And I got so many messages and so many downloads in my dreams when I just did that one thing of not being on social media, not exposing myself to all this stuff that is not serving me. Different realms, my ancestors, spirit guides, angels were like trying to give me messages and communicate with me. And it was just so clear. And I slept so well that first week from just that one thing. So that was amazing to me. So week 2 was no social media, plus no TV, no shows, no movies, none of that. That was a little bit more of a challenge because, for example, usually like when I eat, I'm so used to like eating and watching something at the same time. And it was really nice to just sit with myself and just eat and enjoy my meal. It's like going on a date with yourself and kind of appreciating the meal. It also made me more aware of how when I would eat in the past, sometimes I would start sweating while I eat, or I would eat super fast and just not really be present with my meal. And it made me think of someone that I knew that while he would eat, he would literally just stare at his food and his plate the whole time. I would try to like watch a show or watch a movie, and he would never look up to, you know, watch what we're watching because he was so tuned into his meal, almost like he was making love to it. But he was so engaged in what he was doing, you know, eating. And I always thought it was strange at first. I was like, how can you not eat and be able to watch a show or something on TV at the same time? And that was my ignorance back then because I just didn't get it. But now after doing it, there's something so special about being able to be so in tune with yourself and the meal that you're nourishing yourself with. I enjoyed that a lot. And also in week 2, what I noticed was that my mood was more stable. I wasn't experiencing highs and lows or waking up feeling anxious, how I sometimes do. And I feel like that was mostly due to not exposing myself to, you know, the visuals of like TV and movies, because I am very sensitive. I'm very empathic and sensitive to energy. As someone that is sensitive to other people's experiences, it made me wonder, like, what if there is part of me that does feel like I'm actually experiencing what I'm watching to an extent? You know, even though I know that it's mostly fiction and it's not my life, like how much of it am I absorbing and bringing into my life subconsciously? Something else that happened in week 2 was that I actually started reading again. And I kind of debated whether I should start reading or not, because technically reading would be something that could potentially influence me in one way or another. It's something outside of myself. So I did question whether I should do that or not. But then I reconsidered and I was like, okay, but this book in particular is actually going to be beneficial to me. So it's called The Power of Now. I'm sure most of you probably heard of it. If you not, you should definitely pick it up. The Power of Now, right here. Boom. And it's a very powerful book. What's interesting is that I actually bought this book in 2019, and I read like maybe 50, maybe 60 pages of it. And I was kind of like, it's okay, you know, but didn't feel like compelled to keep reading it, or, you know, like life happened, you kind of just put it down. And I've honestly never been a big reader, even throughout high school and college. I could read, 5, 6, 7 chapters or something and close the book and I have no idea what I just read, because I'm thinking about everything else other than what I'm reading, especially if it's something that I'm not generally interested in. I could read like 100 pages, but don't ask me one question about what I just read, because I'm thinking about what I gotta do tomorrow, or this person didn't text me back, or what's going on with this person. I need to work out. While I'm reading the words, my mind is in a totally different experience. So I've always kind of never been into reading because of that. But when it's something that you're into or like passionate about, or actually that engages you and brings you in, I feel like it's easier to absorb it and to actually pay attention, for me anyway. So I bought this book 2 years ago. I didn't finish it, but reading it now, it's almost as if I'm reading what I've been doing for the past 2 years since I bought this book. Like as I'm reading the chapters, it's like, oh wow, I already do this. Oh, this is how I'm thinking about this too. This is how I feel about relationships, or this is how I feel about my experiences. So it's almost like I'm reading what I kind of discovered on my own in this book. So I think that was really special. That was really fascinating, to read what you've been doing, like to read how you've been living. It's almost like I had to come to my own understanding and knowing of it without having to read it, which is why I think I probably didn't finish the book back then, because Spirit, the universe, wanted me to implement it from within instead of reading it and replicating what I just read. Not that there's anything wrong with that. For a lot of people, it's very powerful to read something and start implementing into their lives. But I think with me, my whole journey, my experiences, my knowing, things that I become more aware of have usually been intuitively from within myself before I saw it on paper or heard it from somewhere else. Like there's a lot of different practices or beliefs or ways of living that I've kind of discovered on my own, but then I'll read it somewhere else or hear about it, and there's a word for it or there's a name for it, and I'm like, oh, that's what it is, but I've been doing that already. So that was pretty cool. So yeah, The Power of Now, everyone should read that book. It's a life changer. It'll make you see things differently. It'll make you think about things differently. It'll make you appreciate your experiences, good or bad, differently as well. So that's very powerful. All right, so week 3 was no social media, no TV, no music. Music to me is everything. It's healing. It has got me through stuff. It's how I chill out. It's how I get amped. It's how I relax in the shower, while I'm cooking, while I'm working out, while I'm walking. Ever since I was a kid, I would literally try to have music on throughout the day whenever I could. It's like a part of me. So week 3 was like, oh fuck, what am I gonna do? But in week 2, I did kind of like try to prepare myself a little bit. So I did certain things without music just to see how it was. It was very pleasant. So in week 3, certain things that really stuck out to me was showering without any music and working out. So showering without music for the first time, probably, I don't know, since I was like a kid, was an experience. It's almost like I can't even put it really into words how I felt showering just with myself and the natural sounds that were around me. But it was something very peaceful, and it was just me with my own thoughts and enjoying the shower, kind of like with the eating without TV shows. It's just you and yourself, and just being able to appreciate that experience for what it is without any outside influence at all. So I really enjoyed that. So week 3 was really, week 3, I felt like I was on a mountain somewhere. Another thing I noticed was in like the first day or 2 of no music, I was singing a lot, not only in my head, but out loud too, almost like trying to make up for the music that I couldn't hear. It's like my brain was so used to hearing music that I would just start singing or like humming or just like making noise. Working out, I've been working out outside a lot lately, and working out too without music was different, but I enjoyed it and the natural sounds of everything and everyone around me, and really just feeling tuned into what's going on, you know, in your environment, as opposed to having like the blaring beats in your ear or in the background or whatever. I don't feel like it changed my motivation or my energy at all during my workout, but it was very nice to just feel at one with everything while you're working out. And the same thing with just walking outside and feeling so connected to everything and everyone around you, even more so than I thought I already was. But not having that, you know, music in your ear constantly, it just takes that to the next level in a way that I never thought I would experience before. So overall, what I feel about this 3-week detox that I did, I feel like I'm definitely rethinking how I use social media and what I expose myself to, what I use it for. I feel like if you're not on social media to either make money or have a business or trying to spread something positive or trying to uplift people or make this world a better place, then there's no reason that you need to be on social media. If you're not doing one of those things, there's really no reason you need social media, because you're mostly just wasting your time and you're paying attention to things that do not serve you. There's just no purpose to be on it, to be honest. Now, even with those things that I just mentioned, I feel like you should still limit your social media usage, because in doing those things, you're trying to post positive things or you have a business to run and whatnot, you still need to take a break here and there. So I would definitely recommend everyone take a break from, you know, social media every now and then, and just try to refocus and just try to reevaluate the way you use it, how much time you spend on it. So definitely going to be more aware of what I'm watching, what I'm exposing myself to, because when I broke my 3-week detox, the first thing I watched, well, first 2 things were 2 horror movies. And when I tell you that night I had a terrible sleep, I had nightmares, I woke up the next day with so much anxiety and not wanting to get out of bed and feeling like the world was crumbling down on me. And I know it was probably because of what I watched, because those 3 weeks I didn't wake up feeling like that, and I was having beautiful dreams. So as soon as I exposed myself back to what I saw, shit went downhill. So and I love horror, I love psychological thrillers, but lately I have been saying that I need to watch like more comedies and, you know, something a little lighter, because naturally I'm drawn to like that dark shit. But yeah, totally made me rethink what I'm watching, what I'm exposing myself to as well. I feel like I experienced a lot of highs, and I just need to focus on how I'm going to be incorporating that into my life moving forward, because there's definitely going to be changes coming for me. And it can be tough living in this society when everything is so focused on the things that I just tried to break away from, when it's almost like you need a lot of these things to almost be successful, or feel like you're connected to something, or where you get your news, or how you communicate with other people. Society is really trying to make it a way that you need to rely on these things. So the tricky part is trying to figure out how you can still do all of those things without being so exposed to the constant toxicity and things that don't serve you, and just wasting your time on bullshit, because a lot of it is bullshit. But I do have to say that if you do want to try this 3-week detox, or even if you try it for 1 week or 2 weeks, I feel like you should do it however you want to do it, and try to eliminate what you feel may be toxic to you or does not serve you. It doesn't have to be music, TV, social media. It could be anything that you've wondered, oh, is this really serving me? Is this really in my best interest? You could incorporate anything, even if you do it for a week or two. But get ready, because you're really going to be forced to face yourself and face things that you may have been ignoring or putting to the side. All of that is going to come to the surface, because when it's just you, and you have nothing on the outside to distract you, those thoughts, those emotions are going to come up, but you'll work through it. You have to face it. You have to face it so you can heal from it. You can't just keep putting things to the side or being distracted with outside influences or substances, because that's only going to mask things for so long. But you see how it plays out in certain areas of your life, or like certain situations, or with certain people, or certain experiences. You might not think that it's related to what you're masking, but that's when it comes out. You think that you're angry because someone cut you in line, but you're really angry at something that happened to you 5, 10, 15 years ago that you never healed from. So if you're going to do this detox, just get ready, but you're going to make it through, and it's going to help you reevaluate a lot of things in your life, and a lot of things that you take into your vessel, because what you take into your vessel is what you become eventually, right? It's hard to expose yourself to a lot of things and take things in and not become it to an extent. It's not always easy to separate it. So just be aware of what you're bringing into your life, who you're bringing into your life, what you're watching, what you're listening to, what you're doing, how you're behaving. You're going to end up tapping into who you really are, and how you really feel, and how you really think. And you may or may not like what you get. You may or may not like what you see. You may or may not like what you experience about yourself. But that's when you got to start putting in the work on this journey and trying to change that for the better, and to try to change it to what makes you comfortable and who you truly are outside of all these influences. So that's when the work starts. So good luck to you if you decide to do this. You'll get through it, and I guarantee that you'll come out a better person if you do decide to stick to it. And I'm out. The power of now. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, right